You're listening to the British Baseball Podcast. Hello, baseball family. Matthew here again with another edition of the British Baseball Podcast. You're now listening to Singapore's 50th favourite baseball podcast about British baseball. And I'm really happy to have alongside me GB Baseball's Kennard Dawson. Kennard, how are we doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, well, I'm really happy to have you on. We've been having a few conversations away from recording about getting you on the podcast, and I'm really excited to have you on the show finally, and to get some things discussed. So, how are you, and whereabouts you join us from today?
I'm doing very good. In the process of conditioning and stuff for school, but right now I'm at Mount Vernon, Georgia, at Jordan Parker College.
Cool. So, what sort of things you doing in conditioning?
It's been some crazy stuff for me personally. It's a new experience coming to a 4-year school out of a 2-year school. So, like the first day was we had 30, 80-yard sprints,
Oh, wow.
all time. Second day was like a super circuit kind of day. So it's just been different stuff meant to test you mentally and physically to see how far you're willing to go for the team and for your teammates.
Are you managing to adapt to it quite well?
Uh, I won't lie and say I've got through everything, but the goal isn't to get through everything; it's to get through as best as you can.
Yeah.
Keep pushing. So I've been trying my best to do that.
Yeah. So, what are the main differences then that you've noticed then between the two schools?
So far, I've only been there for about 2.5 weeks or so, but everyone is more focused towards one specific goal. Whereas in 2-year schools, JUCOs, the goal is pretty much to get to the next level, whether that be 4-year school, drafted, whatever the case is. So here, everyone's more focused towards let's win a championship at this school, let's make a difference at this school. So that's been an interesting difference and something I'm willing to embrace and can't wait to see what it does for my baseball.
Excellent. Yeah, brilliant. So take us back to the beginning then. Why baseball? How did this all journey of yours start? How did baseball become a part of your life?
Yeah, sure. So I have an older brother by the name of Dominic Adams. He uh ever since he was younger, since I was younger, he's about 4 years older than I am. My dad always took us to the ballpark Saturday mornings with a guy by the name of Terrence Shinner. You're gonna hear his name pop up a lot today. May he rest in peace. He died earlier this year, but
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
he was very instrumental in getting pretty much everyone in the British Virgin Islands back home involved in some sort of softball, baseball, t-ball. So it would be a Saturday morning, every Saturday morning, all year. Come out, let's play t-ball, let's play baseball. And it would be a place where you could just be around people wanted to, play baseball just like you. And that was the only thing that we probably had in common. Just let's play baseball, and we just go out, have fun. And from there, I would say I started maybe at about 3 or 4 years old, and it's always been baseball for me.
So there's never any other sports that was trying to capture your heart. It was
Uh,
just always focused on baseball.
I have played football, soccer for I started maybe in primary school, so like I don't know, age 6 or 7. And I played up until maybe I was 15 or 16, but it was just like something else to do.
Yeah,
But it
that's cool.
never really was as dedicated as baseball.
Yeah. So what was it then that got you hooked into baseball?
I don't know. I can't say. That's where most of my longest friends are. Like I said, seen my brother always play. It was just in that time, I feel like most like the best athletes from back home were always baseball slash softball, going to softball games on the weekends, being able to see guys go out there, have fun. It just seemed like someplace I wanted to be on the baseball field.
That's cool. So how how were the facilities like when because you're from the British Virgin Islands? What were the facilities like? Were there plenty there for you to go to? You said you just go to the ballpark, or was it quite a bit of traveling to go and see a game?
So the island's not that big. It's only about 24 square miles. So
Okay.
there were 4 or 5 softball fields, if I remember correctly. but only one of them really was used. The one in the city, pretty much the town city, uh, Road Town. So we would go all meet there on Saturdays and play. If there were any leagues, there would be games there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's maybe only 10 minutes from anywhere on the island. So everyone would meet there and just play and whatnot.
That's interesting. Can you give us an overall picture then of what the baseball scene is like in the British Virgin Islands, or and the softball, I should say?
Okay, so as of right now, there is not a baseball scene in the Virgin Islands. There are maybe off the top of my head 6 or 7 guys that are playing either internationally, professionally, or collegiately from the British Virgin Islands. Um, there's the softball league is being revived. After 2017, 2018, we had like a series of hurricanes that destroyed the field. So there was no softball for maybe 2 or 3 years, and with COVID, uh, there was just no softball at all. But recently they've been reviving it, and I think that's where the focus is at right now. Building back up the softball scene. But like I said, we never had a baseball field in the Virgin Islands. We never had like large amounts of interest in baseball. It was mostly like because the national sport is softball, so that's what the men and the women played. But my coach, Terrence Shinnery, we call him Shino, he was from the U.S. Virgin Islands, came over to British Virgin Islands maybe 30 years ago or so. And he always had an interest in baseball. So he would coach baseball on the softball fields in the afternoons for like different generations. Like there's guys like Nate, who plays on the Great Britain national team. He would have learned from Shino, and then go on to college, come back home, and then coach me, and people younger than I am. So that's how it pretty much was. It started with Shino coaching like maybe 10 or 15 guys, and then they passing it on, pass it on, all with the help of Shino. And, you know, like a brotherhood pretty much. You could always
Yeah,
go to someone else who was like a generation above you, be like, hey, I've been needing help with this, I've been needing help with that, or,
yeah,
uh, just want advice, just want to talk. You could always count on people to come back home to help out and stuff like that. But with the lack of baseball and softball going on for the last maybe 5 years in general, it's really died down. So we're on the up right now.
that's good. So with baseball being that scarce, how did you then build yourself up as a player to get recognised by Great Britain?
So what athletes do from the Virgin Islands, baseball, basketball, track and field, pretty much we get to the age of maybe 14, 15. And if you're really serious about the sport, the best option you usually have is to relocate. Uh, so I relocated to Baltimore, Maryland when I was 16 or 15, getting ready to turn 16. And I was playing baseball over there for about a year. Then I moved to Georgia to be a part of a baseball academy, Georgia Premier Academy. So it was pretty much, dorm school where you just go in, you go to class from 8 to 12, and you practice baseball 1 to 6. They
Yeah,
bring in people from all types of cultures. There's people from Switzerland, people from all the Latino countries, Americans, Virgin Islands, Bahamas, uh, and you just you just go there to learn about God, about baseball, and school, pretty
yeah.
much. So from there, I would say I really developed a lot at that school as a person and as a baseball player. Uh, and from there, I went on to college. And while I was at college, I got recruited to play for the Great Britain team.
Amazing. So how hard is it for you to settle as a new person in a new country? Was it quite an easy transition because of the baseball, or
So luckily, my sister played soccer, football for the British fans.
yeah,
She played football, and she's a year younger than I am. So when I moved to Baltimore, she moved with me, and I moved to a cousin's house over there. So having family with me with the move, it was making it a little bit easier. But
yeah,
then, like you said, because I played baseball, there was like automatically a group of people I could cling to or feel associated with. So I wasn't that much of a loner. I could say I have my baseball friends, I have my baseball associates. Also, I was in the band, the school band. So, I have those guys as well. So it wasn't that hard of a transition. It was just kind of because I literally moved in the worst time. I think I went from Virgin Islands December to Baltimore in January. If you know anything about Baltimore in January, it's really cold. So
Yeah.
uh, that was maybe the toughest part. But once we got into the spring, getting ready to play baseball, it was all right.
Yeah. So at school band, what do you play?
I played tenor saxophone.
Yeah.
Tenor
Nice.
saxophone.
So what are you looking to pursue? Is it just a hobby, or are you like in a band, or
No, so I after I got done with Meade High School, which was in Baltimore, when I moved to Georgia, I kind of dropped the saxophone. I haven't really touched it since then, because like I said, it was mainly baseball, just
yeah,
go baseball. But since then, I have picked up the bass guitar. Whenever I go back home, I play the bass guitar in like the church band and stuff like that.
yeah,
So I think I prefer the bass guitar of all the instruments that I play, but it's just that while I was at Meade, I could play the tenor saxophone. So I was like, okay, they need someone in the band. So I was like, why not pick up something else to do?
yeah. That's cool. I used to play bass guitar, not very well, like I say, used to very, very, very loosely. It's still in a loft somewhere,
Yeah.
gathering dust. Yeah. Yeah, music was never really my. But you can tell by the tone of my voice, singing definitely not. Being tall and skinny at the time,
Yeah.
bass guitar was the natural option. So let's bring this back to baseball before we start a whole new podcast altogether. Um, do you remember much about your call up to the GB national team? How did that come about?
Yeah. So it was random. That's the best way I could describe it. I was not expecting to be called. The Great Britain national team was the last thing on my mind, if I'm being completely honest. So I was in the middle of a conference tournament my sophomore year at East Georgia, and I remember we were in a rain delay before our last game of the season. This was a game before we got kicked out, and my coach comes up to me like in the middle of a lightning delay or something, and he goes, some guy is emailing me to try to get in contact with you to be on the Great Britain national team." And I'm like, just ignore it. It's probably a spam, probably email. And he goes, "No, I think it's serious because he got the email like 2 or 3 times, and he's looking into it, and he was like, it's actual like a GB stamp and everything." And I'm like, I said, "Show it to me." So he showed it to me, and I go, "I don't know this person. I've never heard from this person in my life, but you could respond to them and see what comes of it." And he does. And before he even gets back to me, I get either a message or a call from Nate, and pretty much saying the coaches from the Great Britain team are looking for a catcher for the U23 squad. And he gave them my name. So that's how they may have gotten in contact with me, as well as Coach Connor. He said he did like a database search of just pretty much, guys playing in America who could play for the British team. And I came up as a catcher at East Georgia, and he wanted to get more information. So at the same time, uh, there were two different sets of people trying to get me on the Great Britain team, and I had no clue. It was just so random to me. So eventually from there, I started going about getting through the processes of being able to be on that team, and uh, from there it just went, and the rest is history.
Yeah, well, you look great in the hoodie, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, do you remember what are your memories then surrounding that under 23s tournament in Verona in Italy? Have you ever been to Italy before? Or?
I had not been to Italy before. So the year before I went into college, my family had a cruise on a Mediterranean cruise, and I was asked if I wanted to go on it, and I turned it down. I said no because I want to attend summer camp for baseball.
Yeah.
It was like a 6 week camp, and the prices were about the same. So my parents kind of told me it was one or the other. So I said, all right, I'll take baseball, and they were like, "You sure you're gonna have X amount of time to play baseball for the rest of your life? This is a once in a lifetime chance to go over to Europe." And I was like, "Nah, I think I'm gonna go try to get better at baseball because it's the summer before my senior year.
Yeah.
I have to get looks or whatever." So from there, I went. I think that was the summer I really, really started to excel and get better. So it was like a full circle moment for me, being able to get over to Italy because of baseball. and I really take pride in that. I feel like that's something I'm really proud of.
What was it that got you really excited about the tournament, or just being out with the squad?
Just being with the squad, just being able to play baseball. Something Coach Girard said to us, in U23s was, you know, how does baseball get you to Italy, to Verona, Italy? The fields we were playing at, the scenery was all amazing. It's like just being able to soak it in and just stop and tell yourself, you're in Italy playing baseball, you
Yeah,
know? Whereas I could have been in school. I was supposed to be in school, like during doing fall ball condition and stuff like that. But no, I was in Italy. My mom and my sister came over for that tournament, and I was able to meet plenty of new people, have a really good time, and really just I feel like I got better while I was there. The
yeah.
confidence of being a part of a national team is you can't get that anywhere else. So I feel like that made me a better baseball player in itself as well.
Yeah. Who were some of the people that you first met and made you feel welcome within the team?
So Rory Chandler,
Yeah.
he's a character.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, I met Jack Steppens. I remember I was wearing East Georgia shirt. I think I'm actually wearing it right now, but he came up to me and he goes, "You're from Georgia?" And I'm like, "I just go to school there." He goes, Logan Frady, which would have been one of my teammates at the time. And I'm like, "Yes, actually. How do you know him?" They went to the same middle school. So we
Brilliant.
kind of bonded over that a little bit. And it was kind of like, you're in Italy playing baseball with a bunch of guys you never heard of. But at the same time, you still can find connections in the baseball world, no matter where
Mm,
you are. So it's like, it was comforting to know that, there are people that I could actually relate to over there. And it was pretty cool.
that's brilliant. Nice. So what are your off-field memories before we talk about the tournament around
Yeah.
that on the 23? So
So it's gonna suck, but like I said, I was still in school, so I remember having to like some of the guys going out and stuff like that after games, or like just having a good time. And I remember having to go back to my room and be like, I have a test to do, that's due in the morning and
oh
stuff like
no.
that. Yeah, so that sucked. But other than that, like I said, my mom and my sister were there. We went to a couple places to grab something to eat. Play tourist a little bit. Uh, we had some fun nights as a team, some fun dinners. I remember some conversations. Um, just the scenery. It's an amazing scenery.
Yeah. What became your favorite food while you're out there?
Not in Verona, but I remember the week in between the senior tournament and the 20 U23s, I was with Coach Drew uh and Coach Crammon, and we went to this place that had like this braised beef in like a wine sauce with potatoes. That
Yeah.
was maybe the best thing I've had in my life. That was
Nice.
amazing.
So what did your parents think about it then when they found out you got a call to the GB national team?
They were also skeptical a little bit, when I told them about it. They were like, why would they pick? Not necessarily in a doubting way, but like, what's the odds of you getting picked out of, all the British players or whatever, the homegrown British players, I
Mhm.
guess you could say. And I said, I don't know, but the opportunity is there, and if I can, I would really like to. So they, after I told them that I would like to, they were supportive of it, and they were pushing me towards it.
That's brilliant. Lovely. So the tournament itself, it went really well, finished fourth overall in the competition. What are your memories of the games that you took part in?
Um, it was the very first game I remember being having like a cloud, kind of like uncertainty, because it was like I didn't know what the level of baseball would be like. I had no clue. So we got there and we had 2 days to train with each other. So I kind of knew where the team was at. And I think I was lucky enough to not really fully grasp uh, what the perception of British baseball was before, going into the tournament.
Mhm.
So, like, I'll say after the tournament, when we placed fourth, to me, I was kind of a bit disappointed because I wanted to win the whole thing, but
Yeah,
everyone else was kind of excited and kind of happy. So I had to put it into perspective and, talk to some people and be like, oh, so British baseball wasn't that expected to do that well. So it was a great success at the end of the day. So, being able to put that into perspective was and understanding going from in the beginning not sure what to expect and understanding what we had accomplished was a good feeling.
That's interesting. Have you become more curious about British baseball after you tasted that? Have you looked at it?
I have. So I've looked into like pretty much the grassroots of it,
Yeah.
and it's very similar to Virgin Islands. Not the most popular sport. It's trying to build, and I feel like it's like a mirror of the Virgin Islands, and that's why I feel like going into senior tournament and afterwards, I feel like at home with Great Britain organization because it's pretty much the same thing as Virgin Islands.
Yeah.
Have the same goals.
Brilliant. Lovely. So you must have made a really good impression then with your time at camp because did you even get a chance to go home before you got called up to the senior national team?
No, I did not. I did not. So even before I went to U23s, I was pitched by Coach Drew to maybe stay over there for the senior tournament, but it was not to be a part of the team per se. Like in the role that I was,
Mhm.
I was more pitched to be the backup catcher to Shamoy, who's
Yeah,
also
yeah.
from the Virgin Islands, and to just be over there to catch bullpens and to learn from like Coach Mars to help the pitchers where needed, and to be a backup outfielder because like you said, I was picked to be in U23s. I wasn't necessarily looked at to be a part of the senior team, but while I was during the U23 tournament, I guess I hit really well. I played very good defense in the outfield, I guess,
Mhm.
which was the first time I played outfield since like maybe sophomore year, junior year of high school. And even then, I had only played like maybe 5 innings all year. That was the epitome of my outfield experience. Five innings in maybe in high school baseball. So in U23s, it was like learning a new position, pretty much getting that experience. And then in between the U23s and the senior tournament, there was a week off, and we went to Turin a little bit early, and I got to do not much more, but a little bit more training, talking with Drew and Crammon a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, and pretty much, like I said, the goal was to just go into the senior team, be around a lot of talented players, and get better. Um, but going into the training with the team, we had like live at bats and stuff like that, and I just continued to hit. I was hot at the time, I guess. When you see the ball, well, you're gonna hit it.
Yeah.
So that led into going into the tournament. It put me in the spot to be able to start for the senior team, and after given that opportunity, I was able to continue hitting as well as I was with U23s, even though it was higher level of competition, and all the way through, I was able to just keep it up, keep going.
That's awesome. What would you say the main differences were between the U23s and the national team?
Uh, the level of competition, or for like the team or team itself.
Either. Do both if you want.
Um, so for between U23 teams and the senior team, I would say it was pretty much the same. Guys, coming in, wanting to get to know each other really fast and have this. We all had the same goal. With the U23s, we wanted to do as best as we can, to represent the country.
Mhm.
And then with the senior team, it was like looking back at the U23s team and like these guys made a splash. We can't like be outdone by them. We gotta also make a splash. We also have this goal of let's go put Great Britain on the map pretty much. So it was all focused on one goal, kind of like the same thing, like I said, between the 2 year school and the 4 year school. All had one goal for that, even if it was just for 2 weeks or 1 week. We all had that one goal that we wanted badly, and we went for it. The level of play, I think it was, I don't know, the U23s had some really good pitching. The Italy team and the Czech team, they had some really good pitching. The Germany team, we were seeing guys like 90s. So I think the difference, it wasn't much of a difference. I guess in a senior tournament, the other teams played really good defense against, played better defense, more consistent defense, I guess you can say.
Hmm.
But we faced guys that were going low 80s to high to, to, to mid 90s in both divisions. So it was about the same, I would say.
Yeah, cool. What were your biggest takeaways then from your time with the GB national team?
Just have confidence in what you do, everyone was saying, like, giving me compliments and stuff like that, about if I'm an athlete, I'm a natural athlete. And, coming from an academy with where you have, guys trying to get better all the time. I was never the fastest, I was never the strongest, I was never the best because everyone had every tool. It was normal to have guys running like a 6'6", 6'4", guys throwing 100 miles per hour and stuff like that. And I was never that, So I was kind of like in between. So it was kind of getting that perspective to know that, yes, I can be a special player. I do have those tools. And once I put them to use, I can be as good as I want to be pretty much. And like I said earlier, it was having that confidence, knowing that you're a national team player now, the
Yeah,
U23s, and now for the senior team. It's just winning the mental side of the game. And I think that's what I really improved in while I was with those two teams.
yeah. You mentioned some really, really good and inspiring coaches there, like J Rod Cram, Coach J Rod, Coach Crammon, and Coach Spencer. Which coaches throughout your time in baseball have made the biggest impact on you?
Terrence Shinnery, Coach Drew, J Rod, Crammon for sure. Mars has helped me a lot, hitting. I'd say the whole GB staff, Coach Grassroots, TS, all of them, that's one thing that I was really impressed with. I thought the coaching staff was big. I thought it was a big. I've never been a part of a coaching staff that big before, and I was kind of like questioning why we needed that many coaches. But each guy had a role, and each guy filled their role to perfection. And it was, you want to talk pitching, catching, you could go to Coach Grassor. If you want to talk infield, you could go to TS. Or like best VP I've ever had in my life as well. You want to talk hitting as well, you could go Crammon, Mars. You have your pick of whatever you want. J Rod, he helped me unlock the mental side of my game. I don't even think I ever told him that, but like he had me thinking about so many different things that I never thought, like I needed to activate, like he would say, before games, helping me calm down, helping me stay in the moment. Just a lot of things that I never even thought about would even be relatable to baseball. He was able to tie them all in, and get us ready to play. So then you have my coaches over here, Eric McCumbee, my coach at East Georgia, Gene Reynolds, Coach Cates from Georgia Premier. These are all guys who had great impacts on me and, continue to have great impact on me because I could go to any of those guys at any point, say, hey, I need this, hey, I need that. And, I really appreciate all of them for that.
That's brilliant, lovely. So after all the national team sort of died down, you're involved in this little thing called the Home Run Derby X over in London. So it wasn't
Yes.
not too long since you got home that you're back on the plane into Europe. How
Mhm.
did that happen? How do you remember how you got involved in that?
Yeah, so it was during the season last year, earlier this year. Uh and Coach Grasser messaged me and he was like, hey, do you want to be a part of a home run derby put on by the MLB? I think he said it just as casually as that. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you asking me of all people? Why? Because I'm not really a home run hitter. I never considered myself a home run hitter. So I was like, what? He just randomly just said it, just a text or whatever. And I was like, I'll think about it. And I just said that, not really having any intentions of thinking about it, thinking he would move on to someone else, ask someone else. And I feel like a couple days later, or like a week or two later, he messaged me again and he goes, so are you interested or not? And I'm like, I'll actually give it some thought. So I think eventually I said, yeah, I'll see what it's about to see if it was within my range of possibilities. And eventually I got with him and Nelson, and they talked me through it, told me what it was about, what it was really for. And I thought it was a really cool thing, to help grow baseball in England and in Europe and around the world really. And I was like, that's what I'm trying to do in the Virgin Islands. So if I could do it on a grander stage, first, maybe it could have ripple effects to come back to the Virgin Islands some way,
Yeah.
somehow. So, you know, even though I didn't think of myself a home run hitter, I was like, that's just another challenge I could take to push myself to be a better player at the end of the day. So, I ended up accepting it and I had a good time while I was over there.
Yeah, yeah, it looked like a good day. But before you got there, you got into London, you had a bit of an explore, a bit of touristy stuff.
I got over there a little bit earlier to be a part of U15 camp and women's camp that Coach Spencer and the GB coaching staff put on. I think it was in at Verona Park. Did
Yeah.
I get that right? Yeah, Verona Park. So we had that go on for maybe 2 or 3 days. So I got to meet some of the up and coming GB players. There were some really talented players that I'm excited to see, how far they can get in a few years. It was cool to be a part of that to help, give back to. It's been such a short time since I joined the program, and I feel like I've received so much. It was only fair that I could go and help go over there and give back. Also, it's my first time in England. Never been to England before. So, being able to see that side, they said that's kind of the rougher side, but you don't want to just go to a new place and just go to tourist spots or whatever. So it was fun to see that. And then once I got into London itself, I got to see the Big Ben, the Parliament building, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was cool to just play tourist. I think I only had one night of tourists, but other than that, it was a good experience.
Cool. Did you meet up with any of the other competitors while you were in London?
We had a meeting on the first day when I got into London. So we met everyone that on that day. We got to meet Nick Swish, Adrian Gonzalez, Giovanni Soto, Johnny Gomes, and then everyone else who was a part of that. From the security team to people who'd be cooking for us or who'd be driving us around and stuff like that. So yeah, we got to meet everyone before the event itself.
What was that experience like then being chauffeur driven and having your own personal cook?
I wouldn't say personal cook, but guys who were there. But it was cool. It was kind of a taste of, I guess, what you would say the MLB life was.
Mm.
That's what I'm aspiring to get to.
Yeah, yeah.
So being able to get a taste of that, it was kind of like, like when you're on a journey and you want to know what the end goal is like, you get a little taste of the end goal so you can kind of keep going. Now you have a reason to keep going. It was kind of like when I was on the stage for my first round, I was like, this is where I want to be. This is where I belong.
Yeah.
I remember when I put the jersey on with my name on for the first time, I kind of looked in the mirror and I was like, this is a Boston Red Sox jersey with my name on it. And I was like, the threads and everything about it just felt like at home. It just felt like this is what I want to aspire to get to. So that feeling was amazing.
Yeah. So are you a Red Sox fan?
No, 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 no. I hate the Red Sox. I hate the Red Sox. No,
Who's
I'm
your
a
team?
I'm a Texas Rangers fan.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say like the way you sort of like you had yourself imagine like because no Richard Brereton with the Yankees,
Yeah.
you would have been over the moon with that one. I just thought maybe you landed a sweet spot with no.
No, I'm a Rangers fan. I know that's kind of in the middle of nowhere, being a kid from the Virgin Islands, but I really started paying attention and kind of watching baseball around 2010, 2011,
Mhm.
when they had those Rangers teams that was in the World Series back-to-back years. So I think from there I've been clinging to the Rangers ever since.
Yeah, that's nice. Now you mentioned before that you're ambitious, and I read an article that you mentioned you had a dream to play in the MLB and draw more attention to baseball within the British Virgin Islands and within British baseball as well to help it get on the map. How are you working towards that goal?
So towards the getting to MLB, pretty much, I'm playing college baseball, trying to get seen, trying to do the best I can to improve and, just have good days when there are guys out there to see. Um, it's a grind, it's a tough task. thousands of people trying to get to the same goal I am. So, you know, I'll just keep climbing my way through until hopefully I get there. But in terms of trying to bring awareness to baseball, wherever I go, whatever I do, I let people know Virgin Islands. I try to attract people to come back home. Come help me do a clinic, come help me do some camps, or come visit, come see what it's like. I'm trying to work with the Great Britain staff to maybe hold like some camps down there.
Yeah.
Uh, having uh so how I went to the school in Georgia was the coaches went came from Georgia, and they came to the Virgin Islands. They held I think it was like a 2-day scout meet, and it was like, this is where you guys are at. This is not anywhere near where people your age and different parts of the world are at. They're way more advanced than you guys are. If you want to succeed, if you really want to get to where you want to get to, come to our school. That's pretty much what's the pitch.
Yeah.
So, having guys like that come down to be able to share the knowledge, because without that, we were kind of like in a box, kind of like thinking, oh, we're good, we're gonna make it if we keep doing what we're
Hmm.
doing. Where in reality, we needed to be way up there. So, trying kind of being that guy whenever I go back home to be like, uh, those few that are still playing, like, no, you can't be at this level, you got to be at this level. I'm trying to be that example for them. Try to give opportunities to guys who maybe didn't get those opportunities. I try the best I can to help. We have a saying, make it off the island. So if I'm at East Georgia, I'm trying to recruit guys from the Virgin Islands to be at East Georgia or schools that I've been to. I'm trying to get guys to come to Boone Park with me right now, or trying to get guys to maybe be a part of the Great Britain organization.
Yeah.
Kind of share it with everyone else, because that's the only way that it could expand. I can't get the opportunity. Like, say if Nate got that opportunity and never shared it with anyone else, it would just be Nate.
Yeah.
And what. So guys like him kind of saying, no, you guys got to come along with me too. I'm trying to be that person too, that middleman to keep it going.
Yeah, that's a great way to help grow the game as well. So really good. You mentioned, before I move on to the next one, I want to ask you a bit more about the home run derby in London. What was it like being around all those major leaguers? Did you ask for any tips and advice, or who was dishing out the info?
So all of them were really. You can learn from people without even talking to them. Just seeing how they went about their business, seeing how they attack certain things. Even if it was something like a home run derby, all those guys were in the cages like it was game day, like they were getting ready for the World Series. While still having fun. There's ways to do that. So learning that you can still be serious about what you're trying to do while having a good time. Meeting new people, having new experiences. Obviously you ask a couple questions here and there. Try not to bug them too much, but at the same time, they were willing to talk about
Yeah.
their experiences, about what it takes to get to the next level. So it was good having them around and being able to suck up as much information as I could from them.
Yeah. What are the rest of the team like? Who do you enjoy being around?
So I had also on my team I had Paige, and
Yeah.
I had
Liv Cook
what's Liv
and
Cook.
um and Johnny. Johnny, you,
Yeah, me,
Paige and
Johnny,
Liv Cook,
Liv,
yeah.
and Paige. So funny story about Liv. So my first day at Fronton Park, I remember walking onto the field. I was just gonna get some swings in with TS and uh no, not with TS. Oh, what's his name? The previous head coach of the Great Britain team. What's his name again?
Liam.
Liam Carroll.
Yeah, Liam
Yes.
Carroll.
Okay. Yeah. So I remember he offered to throw me some BP, and I remember walking up to the field and seeing this girl in the cage taking some swings, and I'm like, this person is actually pretty good. I had no clue who she was or anything like that, and I remember seeing her swing, and I'm like, oh, she's actually pretty good. So at the end of it, they go, "This is Liv. Should be competing with you on the Boston Red Sox." And I'm like, no way, this is a celebrity taking these kind of swings. I was like, So we asked her, we're like, what was your experience with baseball before that? And she goes, nothing. She has none. And I'm like, that was really impressive to see, how good she got and how fast she got that good. So her work ethic, it was impressive. It kind of inspired me seeing how hard she was willing to work towards something that she didn't even, you know, have any dreams towards or anything like that. So I think that helped push me. Paige was not what I expected at all. Seeing her in like YouTube videos with like the King of Juco and stuff like that,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
kind of got a different persona. But then actually meeting her in person, she was more soft spoken, kind person. She was easy to talk to. I think she was the easiest to talk to out of anyone who was there. Uh, uh, but at the same time, she wanted to win. She was, she meant business. So it was like just having different personalities. And then
Mm.
Johnny, of course, he's kind of more like the silent killer, I guess. Because I remember walking into the room and seeing him just sitting there, and I was like, "Oh, this is Johnny Combs," and I'm like, he wasn't saying anything, during the meeting. He didn't say anything until he asked, I think, one question. I don't remember what the question was, but it was like based off of technicality of one of the rules, and I was like, "Oh," that's when I was like, "Yeah, this guy is really trying to win this thing. Like, he really cares about this. He wants to win." And I was like, "This is the kind of attention I need to pay to everything that I do in life as well."
Yeah.
Like if we're having a team meeting, I got to be attentive. I got to be able to ask questions like that. Is what I was thinking. Like, what can help the team? Even though it may seem like not the smartest question at the time, but it's something that could be a huge role in what you're trying to accomplish later on. So it was just a mix of different personalities on the team itself, but it was really cool.
That's interesting. It's going on tour, isn't it? Are you part of the rest of the tour, or is it just the British based stuff?
I was just part of British because
Yeah,
I'll be in school and other stuff while the rest is going on.
yeah. We'll be watching it.
I will try to tune in. I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time zones allowing.
Yeah.
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 Uh, you mentioned as well in another article that you're quite a fan of Mike Trout, and to us, who isn't, being one of the best players in the game. Um, are you trying to? Let me rephrase the question. What sort of players that you watch are you taking inspiration from?
Um, that's a hard question, because like being a Rangers fan, there hasn't been a whole lot to be excited about,
Mm.
in the past years. But so I've been kind of just taking in baseball as a whole. Like I said, Mike Trout, that's once in a lifetime generation. You know, how could you not be excited about watching Mike Trout play baseball? Uh, he's really good and obviously naturally talented, but at the same time, he's like always like among the top 1 percentile and like hustle stats and stuff like that too. It's like how could you be the best player and be like one of the most like wants it the most? That's you never get players like that. So it's like it's cool to watch that and try to like uh copy that part of his game. I take pride in hustling out ground balls, hustling out fly balls, trying to get to balls in the gap as quickly as I can if I'm in the outfield, if I'm catching, blocking up everything, hustling to the ball, just being ready to play and just giving my all for the team. I take pride in that. I think, watching Mike Trout helps me to do that.
Awesome. We're nearing the end of the episode, which is a shame because I feel like we could go on for forever. But you're at school, and I don't want to take you away from your studies. So, who would make your Mount Rushmore of baseball? 4 individuals, players, coaches that mean the most to you, and why?
So I got to go with Terrence Shinnery. Without him, I wouldn't be, let alone like leave baseball aside. I wouldn't be in the States for school. I wouldn't be the person that I am today. He was just the best mentor that I could have, the person I want to follow. I want to follow in his footsteps and leave the legacy that he left behind. It's something that it can't be measured. It can't be touched by anyone else. But I want to try to be the best, as close to him as I can be. Uh, and then Mike Trout, like I said, it's the best in baseball. I don't think I could ever match his talent level, obviously, but I could obviously match his hustle level. I could hustle as much as he does. I can mean as much to my team as he does, just based off of just trying, just caring about the small stuff. Um, Ken Griffey Jr. He is all time talent as well. He's just fun to watch. He kind of started the movement of like let the kids play. Like just not caring what the older guys have to say. Just be you, even if you're not the most. I'm not the most like flashy person, but still being able to give my personality and just be me on the baseball field. I think he's a great person to follow. And then Jackie Robinson, you know, what he means to the black community and what he did for baseball. Uh, you can't forget him off the Mount Rushmore, I don't think. So I think those are my four guys.
Yeah, good list. So what is it about Terence? Then you say he's done a lot for you and someone you want to emulate. Just how big a personality was he? Like, can you expand on who he was as a person and what he did?
Yeah, so pretty much he was the guy that brought baseball to the Virgin Islands. Like I said, he would take his time. You could find him on the baseball field from 2 o'clock to about 8 o'clock in the night every day, no matter what day, holiday, no holiday. Like I said, there were guys from as early as Nate, maybe even before Nate, he was coaching them, and then straight down to I think I'd say my generation or maybe a year after me was the last team that he took away to. He would take us to like the U.S. Virgin Islands to the States to get exposure, off of his own money. He would house us in his house in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Then he would take a boat over. We would play. He was just a father figure. He had an office where like if you forgot your lunch money, you could go over to him and be like, "Hey, Shinoa, I need $5 for lunch today," and he would give it to you, no questions asked. If you got in trouble and you didn't want to tell your parents, you could go to him, and he would help you deal with that. He was that kind of person that was, fatherly in so many ways. He didn't have any kids of his own, but we all considered ourselves to be his kids, pretty much. Males and females alike. It wasn't only baseball. He was instrumental in, just sports in general. In the whole Virgin Islands, and what he meant to the Virgin Islands was something that not a lot of people, can touch. Even though he was never like political, he was never. I would say definitely he's one of the most influential people within the last 30 to 40 years of the Virgin Islands. He's touched so many people, politicians, doctors, teachers, everyone, anyone in any field. You could go in and you could be like, "Do you know Terrence Shinnery?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, Shinno, I remember him. I remember what he did for me. He did this, X, Y, and Z." They could always have a story, a joke. He was just that guy that everyone wanted to be around. Everyone is always grateful that he was in their presence, and I'm blessed to say I was touched by him. So hopefully I could pass that on to someone else.
Excellent. That's brilliant. What a great way to end the episode. It is tradition, though, to give the last word to the guest. So, Kennard, thanks again for this. I really appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man. Any shout outs you want to give or any parting advice? The floor is all yours.
I like to say shout out to East Shoulder Baseball, Eric McCumbee, Jason Mott. Also shout out to Bruton Parker, Coach Larson, Coach Melton, Georgia Premier Academy. Those three main places that helped me grow in baseball. Thank you to the GB coaches for giving me the opportunity. It meant the world to me, and I hope I can continue to represent the team in the future. Thanks to my parents for sticking with me through ups and downs. And to anyone who isn't sure about, baseball wise, what they mean to the team or what they could provide, you could always help the team out in some way, even if you're not playing, cheer on your teammates. When you do get in the game, hustle hard all the time. It makes a difference. Even if you got out, someone's looking at you and being, this guy is really trying. Maybe I should try a little bit harder, and always have a positive attitude. Always be ready to go. So, because you never know what could happen. Baseball is a funny sport. Anything could happen in the blink of a moment. So always be ready.
Excellent. Kennard Dawson, thank you very much for your time. Take it easy.
Thank you.
Tara. Bye.